The golden sun rises over a peaceful meadow. Benny the rabbit, with his small satchel of healing herbs, hops along a dirt path. Birds sing from the trees as he cheerfully greets every creature he passes. High above, a pair of green eyes watch from a tree branch. Whiskers the cat, curious but distant. But Benny stops by a fallen tree, where a small squirrel clutches its injured paw. With gentle movements, Benny unwraps a strip of soft leaves from his satchel and binds the wound. The squirrel chitters gratefully. Whiskers flicks her tail, unimpressed but intrigued by Benny's kindness. The wise old owl flutters down onto a low branch. "Kindness is like a seed," he hoots. "Plant it, and it will grow." Benny nods, smiling, while Whiskers listens silently, pretending not to care. Whiskers leaps down from the tree and lands beside Benny with grace. "You're always helping others," she says, her tone laced with mild amusement. Benny shrugs. "It's what I do." As Benny sorts his herbs, Whiskers suddenly pounces at a passing butterfly. She leaps high, twisting midair, but the butterfly flutters away. Benny chuckles, shaking his head at her playful antics. Whiskers lets out a sharp yowl as she lands. She lifts her paw, eyes narrowing at the sharp thorn now stuck in it. Her playful nature vanishes as she hisses in pain. The usually proud Whiskers hesitates, then limps toward Benny. Her ears are flattened in frustration, but the pain forces her to swallow her pride. Benny's ears twitch at the sound of distress. He turns swiftly, eyes filled with concern as he spots Whiskers struggling to walk. Benny scurries through the grass, pushing aside leaves until he finds Whiskers crouched beneath a bush, her wounded paw curled close to her chest. For the first time, Whiskers looks at Benny with genuine gratitude. Her green eyes soften. "Thanks, Bunny," she murmurs. Fat raindrops begin to splatter against the leaves. Benny and Whiskers quicken their pace. They reach a narrow wooden bridge spanning the river. The planks glisten with rain, making it treacherously slick. Just as Benny steps onto the bridge, a weak plank gives way beneath him. His eyes widen in shock as he plummets below. Benny twists midair, ears flapping wildly before he crashes into the roaring river. The cold water engulfs him, pulling him under. His tiny paws flail desperately against the churning current. "Whiskers!" Benny's weak voice barely rises above the storm. The cat's ears shoot up, eyes dilating with fear. Without hesitation, she sprints toward the riverbank. He reaches the river's edge and gasps. Benny is barely visible, his tiny form struggling against the waves. Without a second thought, Whiskers leaps onto an overhanging branch above the water, tail twitching in determination. Whiskers crouches on the slippery branch, her sharp claws gripping the bark tightly. Rain pours around her, and the raging river below churns violently. She inches forward, green eyes locked on Benny, who is barely staying afloat. "Grab on, Benny!" Whiskers yells, her voice barely cutting through the storm. She stretches out a paw, tail swaying for balance. Benny struggles against the current, kicking frantically, but his soaked fur makes it hard to move. With a final yank, Benny tumbles onto the branch, landing beside Whiskers in the wet grass. They both collapse, panting heavily, rain still falling around them. "You helped me first," she says, glancing at her still bandaged paw. "It was my turn." Whiskers gently nudges Benny to his feet. He stumbles but manages to stand. Together, they walk toward a large oak tree, seeking shelter under its thick branches. The forest animals gather to celebrate Benny and Whiskers' bravery. They bring small gifts, nuts, leaves, and flowers to show their gratitude. Benny carefully ties a tiny leaf-shaped pendant around Whiskers' neck. "A reminder of our friendship," he says with a smile. They stand side by side on the repaired bridge, watching the now calm river smiles up at her, his heart full. Always. Benny's selfless act of helping Whiskers was returned when he needed it most. Their friendship was strengthened through trust, bravery, and compassion. This story teaches us that even the smallest kindness can have a big impact, and that helping others without expecting anything in return can lead to friendships that last a lifetime.